Sister Kate here, out in my garden. This morning I was weeding. I think you can see these things down here. They are very innocuous weeds. Nothing special. Got some wild carrot and some other leafy guy right here that I don't know, but he's kind of tough to get out. And I started using a stick to dig those weeds out. And while I was doing that, I was thinking about Native American women who used to use sticks to do their, quote unquote farming when they were gathering, like, I think it's called kala, not the lilies, maybe it's walla, some kind of root out in Washington State, or if you ate, say, curly dock root or you used chicory root, they would use a stick to dig with. And that brought me to the thought of how hard their life was. And we think of Native Americans as the noble savage because when people from Europe showed up and they had their organized religion and they had their way of doing things, the way that the natives did it to them seemed very barbarian. Now, that's not to say the natives didn't already have their own religions. They did, and their own belief systems. They certainly did. They had their hierarchies and their diplomacies between different tribes and cultural norms and all sorts of things. They were a complete society set up. But when you get two societies together and they clash, the one or both of them are going to look at the other one and think there's a lot wrong with that society. Anyway, the whole noble savage idea kind of embodies something that I think everyone, including natives nowadays, can embrace, which was their sense of discipline, their sense of self-responsibility. For instance, the men were the hunters, and they could hunt for days away from camp, have their own fires, take care of their own needs and wants. The natives had as a food that was easy to carry and would last a long time, pemmican. They figured that out, and if you were going hunting, you would take the pemmican with you. They were, like I said, they were self-sufficient, and the noble idea is not noble like, oh, it was a king, like the royal families in Europe consider themselves noble. It was noble because these people were very self-disciplined, they were clean, and they were tough. They were very, very tough. They could walk for miles. The women gave birth while out in the field doing things and just kept right on doing them. They provided everything for themselves with weaving wicker baskets and making the leather clothing and everything. And they were stoic. Many of them were stoic. The societies in themselves valued strength, not whining. And some of the, when you're a stranger and you showed up to their societies, some of them, the test for you was how much pain you could endure and not complain about it. Because in the kind of lifestyle that they lived as hunter-gatherers, hard work is an everyday part of that life. Now, I'm not saying they didn't have fun. They did. They had games like lacrosse and wrestling and so forth. It's not that every day was spent, constantly busy, but that the lifestyle itself, digging roots out with a stick, is hard work. And it's something as a hunter-gatherer, if you're not actually planting crops, it's something that needs to be done pretty much every day in order to get the calories that you need to survive. And I will give an example of this modern show called Live Free or Die that I watched recently. And in it, excuse me, the two guys who were living, sort of like natives did, who were just hunter-gathering for their calories, were semi-starving. I mean, the one fellow was going days and days trying to live off one squirrel, and his fallback food was some sort of quinoa, I think, that he would cook for himself. But that's, you're supposed to have 1,500 calories in a day. And so hunting, gathering is a really tough lifestyle, and you have to be a tough person to survive it. And many people didn't survive it. There were starving times, certainly there were. The mound builders museum that I went to on the border of Kentucky and I think Missouri had a, you know, they had excavated the little village that had been there, and they had a whole section that was full of babies' graves, you know, like 17 or 19 babies. So it was a tough existence. But I think that toughness is something we can grab onto even now. Even if you don't want to be a hunter-gatherer, and as someone who's trying to self-sufficiently create, you know, vegetables for my family to live off of, for my husband and I, and our kids if they're visiting, it is a everyday thing. You have to be out here doing this every day, and it's tough. So if you can have for yourself some kind of crop that you can grow that will give you lots of calories, like potatoes or squash or whatever, that's a plus. And also, if you can domesticate, have some kind of domesticated animal that provides you with a sustainable and systematic source of protein, let's just say like eggs, that's a bonus. That's going to make your life less difficult. And so, yes, the noble savage had a lot going for him, but we don't have to live that way today. Although we can keep some of the lessons and the values that they had, I think we live in a place where we can blend everything that's good together and have a satisfying life. All right, shalom. Thanks for listening. Bless you.